Hey, how's everybody doing? All right, welcome back. Today we're doing Series I bonds versus Roth IRAs. All right, bonds versus IRAs. They sound different. However, they're similar, and you have to focus your money on one of them early on in life. Which one will it be? Okay, we're in the middle of a recession. We know that. And so we have to plan our resources very diligently. We have no money to waste, no time to waste. Now we're investing for a 20-year time frame, 20 to 40 to 50 years. Series I bonds you buy at the Treasury, directly from Treasury Direct, U.S. government. I believe in Series I bonds. I buy a lot of them. All right. Now, right now, they're at 9.65%, which is excellent. However, historically, they're more like 2 to 3%. And I would imagine they'll revert back to that in the next 2 to 3 years. Right now is a good time to invest. Now, your Roth IRA is an account that after you pay your taxes on your income, your job money, you could put up to $6,000 a year into your Roth IRA. You can invest in index funds or dividend stocks, whatever you want to do. You can get a much better return long term than on your Series I bonds. You're going to get 9 to 10% on index funds over the years. All right, so your Roth IRA is going to grow crazy. And when you take out the money at age 59 and a half, it's going to be tax free. Okay, I don't know if I can highlight anything. Now, here's the problem. When you're young, everybody's going to tell you to focus on retirement, and it's great advice. It's great advice, people. It's great advice. However, is it realistic? Is it realistic for a 20-year-old person, 25-year-old person to sock away money untouched for 40 years until they hit 25 or 65? Is that realistic? What are you going to do between age 25 and 65? Buy a house, get married, send your kids off to college, have grandkids, you know, vacations, marriages. That's a lot. And you're going to have some lump sum of money somewhere else that you can't access. Yes, in a perfect world, it would be nice to be able to have a huge nest egg and go through it. However, so for this article, I evaluated two. Which one should we put our money in first? Now, the limit on Series I bonds is 10,000 a year. Okay, there's a limit on that. 6,000 for Roth. I'm saying invest in your Series I bonds first till you get a nice nest egg. Why is that important? Because when things hit the fan, as they will, you do not want to tap into your Roth. You're going to be penalized 10% for taking money out of your Roth. Okay, and that's a huge chunk of change over time. Say you save up 50 grand and then something happens to your air conditioner and it needs $10,000. You take out the money, you take out 10,000 plus another 1,000. Okay, you're going to get penalized. Now for a Roth, I think you could take out the principal untouched, but you can't take out any growth. Okay, so just be aware of that. Again, is this a situation you don't want to put yourself into? Series I bonds. The good thing about Series I bonds is you can access them when you need. They grow, and yes, when you cash them out, you're gonna have to pay taxes on the growth, right? The growth is not gonna be massive. Right now it is, but historically it's gonna be 3%. You pay, taxes on the growth, which is fine, but you're gonna get your principal back plus the growth minus the taxes. But you need access to this money. Just knowing that you have it there is a security net. You could use the Series I bonds as part of your emergency fund. That's what makes it so great. The Roth IRA is not your emergency fund. You're not going to get access to this money quickly. And it's going to be penalized you. So any emergency you have is going to be 10% worse because of the penalty. Okay, so my recommendation for Series I bonds is to invest in those first, stack those up, especially when you're young. Stack up, man. Even if you can get up to 100K, 50K in Series I bonds, just knowing that money's there. Your top emergencies are going to be what? Your roof and your AC for the most part. Okay. Most things are smaller than that. Potentially, you can cover those with a credit card and pay them off over a month or two. Anything that seems like it's going to take longer than a month or two to pay back, grab it out of the Series I bonds. Now, my experience, why am I saying this? Why am I saying focus on? I'm not saying don't invest in your Roth IRA, but I'm saying focus on things you have access to early. Why? Because I lived this life. I had my TSP. I put everything in TSP, which is a 401k. I did that. Then I bought a house in 2008. I had to take a loan against it. We bought a second house, took a loan against it. My wife, we moved from Japan. My wife didn't have a job. We had to take out money against it. So it's inconvenient and you don't feel protected when you have TSP. It's nice to have those things in the background, but I feel so much more protection having my Series I bonds growing and access to those things. All I can do is log on to Treasury Direct, pick the account, and the money's back in my standard accounts within like 2 or 3 days. Okay, minus a couple months of interest. Okay, so the Series I bonds, look at them at your emergency fund. Maybe you keep 10,000 local in a high yield savings account, right? And then you keep some Series I bonds, and you try to aim for the 10,000. Then once you hit the 10,000, then you aim for the 6,000 in Roth. I know it sounds like a lot of money, but if you're doing things right, if you're doing like I talk about later, if you're doing books, investing, income, house hacking, running businesses, ATMs, grinding, delivering pizza, if you're doing everything in your power to get this money and invest it and do right and be good stewards of your money, you'll hit more than 16,000 a year. All right. Plus you have your 401k probably. So I also write in here, the system is overwhelming for young folk. And I always want to be honest. I lived a life. I left home, my parents, I had $10 in my pocket. I went to boot camp, 1999, and that was it. That was it from the parents, which is fine. I hold no grudges. It's nothing. They were operating off the information they were going off of, and the world was different back in '99. But today, if you're under 25, the world is not meant for you to act solo, for you to be alone, trying to pay off your loans, buy a house, keep your marriage together, have kids, save for your kids' college, save for your retirement. It is a lot, plus inflation, plus taxes. It is so much. So just understand that the world's not meant for you to have it all. Start small, get that emergency fund up, get 10,000 in an emergency fund. Some of that can be in Series I's. At least you're, say 5,000 is that Series I bonds. At least it's growing at 3-4%. And you have a little bit of protection from the world. And from there, you just have to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And maybe you can't save for your kids' college, but you say, hey, I'll put them up in a room. I'll put them at community college. Well, then we'll all work together to get you to that year 3, year 4, right? It's tough, right? And then you have your retirement on the back end. And maybe you have roommates during retirement, Social Security, roommates, a small pension, a Roth IRA where you're collecting $1,000 a month. We have to start thinking like that. And the Series I bonds are part of this process. Okay, the Roth IRA is great. Maxing out your account is great. It sounds good. But what's the point of having 500,000 in a Roth IRA if you can't afford inflation gas prices? Okay. If you have money in your Roth, maybe keep it there and maybe you start funding your I bonds. Just be aware when you lock up your money till 59 and a half, it's tough. I am 41 years old. I'm letting you know between age 25 to 45, those are the most expensive parts of your life. You're going to have kids, and kids are super expensive. They need things. Your wife or your spouse, they want to have some nicer things because they deserve it because we're all grinding hard. You want a couple nicer things. So on top of that, you have to think about the future. So Series I bonds are part of that. You don't want to go into your peak earning years with debt. So pay off that debt, put your money in I bonds, and that's it. The Roth IRAs are great, but you're going to go through some financial course. They're going to say retirement, 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 retirement. And I get it. You don't want to retire broke. However, there's things you can do later in life that you can reduce your expenses. Like I said, hopefully by then you have a house. You can rent your rooms out. You could build a shed on your property to grow extra. You could turn your backyard into a dog park. You can rent out your spaces. There's always going to be something new, right? But if you're trying to invest so early, you're going to get the growth, but in the meantime, you're going to get in credit card debt, or you're going to be stressed out, and you're going to have years of stress. So just think about that, right? So maybe your Roth doesn't look as great as it will with 500,000. Maybe the Roth has 200K, your Series I's have 100K, and your high yield savings account has 50K, 10K, whatever. But at least you're comfortable. Focus on getting smart, getting comfortable. The money will come. You'll find a way to use the power of compounding eventually. But I'm watching young people put so much money into their IRAs and they don't know what's going to hit them. They don't know that they're going to get married and their spouse is going to stay home. They're going to have 3 mouths to feed, one income, no additional money, and then a Roth IRA with 100K. So what's going to happen? You're going to liquidate the Roth. Okay. So understand that life is expensive. Do everything in your power to make as much money as possible. Make as much money as possible and fund both. But having that emergency fund is a top priority. I'm letting you know as someone who didn't have one for 10 to 15 years. And now that I have one, a nice one, man, I'll let you know it's very comfortable. All right. But grab the book. It's a nice looking book. Grab the book from the website. I'll put it down there and read the article and make your own decisions. But Series I bonds are a good thing. They're a hidden asset for a lot of people. They can't invest in the 10,000. It's not a lot of money for them because they make millions of dollars. But for us regular folk, get that 10,000 in there a year. It's nice. All right. With that, I'll see you at the next one. Bye.